Hello, little chefs! So this is actually a recipe that I have spent a lot of time trying to perfect. So without further ado, I'd like to share with you guys one of my favorite recipes. Chewy chocolate chip cookies. This is actually my perfected version of Alton Brown's chewy chocolate chip cookie recipe. For those of you who are fans of Good Eats, be sure to watch the original version of the show to see where I deviate. To begin, we're going to take 2 sticks of unsalted butter and melt them on the stove top. Once you've got your butter melted, you're going to want to mix in a cup of white sugar and a cup of brown sugar. Then you're going to want to mix that on medium-high for about 3 minutes. Next up, we're going to want to add our wet stuff. Here we've got an entire egg, 1 egg yolk, 2 tablespoons of milk, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla. You're going to want to mix this on low and then gradually increase the speed as it incorporates. Next up, we've got the dry stuff. Here we've got 2 cups of bread flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. You're going to want to make sure you incorporate this very slowly, otherwise you're going to get flour everywhere. At this point, we're ready to add my favorite part, the chocolates. Personally, I really like going with the dark chocolate chunks, but you know, the milk chocolate chips work just as well. Whatever you prefer. Also, if you guys are feeling really fancy, go ahead and try throwing in just a little bit of orange zest. In my opinion, few flavors go together better than orange and chocolate. Now once you're done mixing your batter, you're going to want to make sure that you stick that in the fridge for at least an hour. Overnight is preferred. But in my house, that never happens. And we shouldn't neglect the most important step of all, licking the paddle. So we made a lot of changes from traditional cookie recipes today. Why use melted butter instead of softened butter? Why use bread flour instead of all-purpose flour? And what's with ditching one of the egg whites and substituting milk instead? These are all great questions, and they can all be answered with some simple chemistry. You see, the water from the melted butter combines with the higher protein content of the bread flour. This produces gluten, which is chewy. And since bread flour soaks up more moisture, this ensures a more moist cookie. And we took out one of the egg whites because typically egg whites dry out dough, and we do not want that. I should also mention that one of the biggest differences between my recipe and traditional recipes is the flour to sugar ratio. I always use a 1-to-1 sugar to flour ratio. Now I've tried other variants, and I have to say, they taste more like cake than cookies to me. And now that our cookies have been in the refrigerator for, I don't know, a couple of hours, it's time to bake. Make sure to line one of your baking sheets with parchment paper. And to dish these out, I always use a number 15 disher. Now you do not need to pack these on here. I tend to only put about 6 to a tray. The nice thing is you can just keep this batter in the refrigerator, and every single time you feel like making cookies, just go ahead and make them fresh. After giving your batter an adequate amount of time to chill, you're going to want to go ahead and set your oven to 350 degrees. Now typically cookies can take anywhere between 10 and 15 minutes to bake, but that is going to depend greatly on your oven. Now don't forget that you are going to want to rotate the pan halfway through to promote even browning. Set those in there, set your timer for 5 minutes, and wait. Yep, that looks about right. Time to turn. Now once the cookies become a little bit brown on the outside, but they still look soft and tender on the inside, that's when you want to take them out. As soon as you can, you're going to want to transfer these over to a cooling rack. And there you have it, folks. That's how you make the perfect chocolate chip cookie. Once again, thank you very much for joining me today, and I hope I've inspired you to get back in the kitchen to get a little creative.